Welcome to TNT, baby, the naked truth with Taylor Armstrong, where I'm going to expose everything about my life, and my guests are going to come on, get naked with me, and bear it all. Now, let's get naked. Welcome to the Naked Truth. I'm Taylor Armstrong, and this is Gemma.
Hi.
And I have been so excited for so long for you to meet Megan, aka Rocket Girl, because she is just a badass mountain climbing rocket scientist, and I love her so much, and I knew you two were going to get along. So, Gemma, meet Megan.
Hi, Megan. Well, it's about time.
I know.
Like, literally, she's been raving about you for so long.
Same other way around.
I am like, okay, seriously, I don't want to hear another story. I want to meet her.
Right,
When do I actually get to meet her?
Yes, and the last
Today.
time she was here, you were gone. And so now I'm like, we just have to start from the beginning, because I can't wait for the two of you to get to know each other. And we're all Geminis.
Is
and
that crazy?
we have the same birthday.
That is the
Same
weirdest thing. I've
birthday.
never met a May 30th.
And
before.
your sister's birthday is her mother's birthday. I'm
What a
just
weird
saying, you guys
coincidence.
are like,
Universe sisters.
It is happening.
It's universal.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So all
yes.
12 of us Geminis are going to sit here and have some fun today.
Lord help us.
It
Lord
sounds good.
help
It
us.
could get a little
Jesus.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm always bragging about you because you not only climbed the 7 summits, but you're on your way to the Grand Slam.
Gotta finish the North Pole, the Arctic,
is it.
the last degree ski to the North Pole, and that will finish the Explorers Grand Slam. I'll be the 5th U.S. woman, 13th woman ever to complete it.
Seriously.
I know. I told you. 13.
Lucky 13.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yes,
know. I'm
How'd you?
trying.
That was a good
I
number.
mean, probably when we finally, we just had to cancel part of it, but so next year when I go, I mean, I will knock people back to be 13.
That's
all
it.
I have
That
to
is
say.
your
No.
number.
That is it. You want
That's
that
it.
number for
Not
sure. You have to
14.
start manifesting that like over and over again,
she's
which
claimed
you're
it.
so good at manifesting anyway. And Gemma and I work so much with women's empowerment, and you are one of the most empowered women that I know because of everything you've been through, and then how you've just come back from it, and you have this amazing organization named Grit. So I feel like I should just let Megan and Gemma talk, and I'll just sit over here because I already know everything.
I got to hear about grit though.
Yes,
Because just the word grit. So I had a business called Grit Girls, like literally 5 years ago, and I told her about it. It was all based on. It was all based on women of history. So every month you'd have a different woman, and I made these characters back when you actually had to make characters by hand, but now we have AI that makes all our artwork for us. So it was a bummer. But so when she said your company was Grit, on top of having the same birthday, I was like,
Meant to
what? I got to get the whole
be.
story.
you guys better not start just leaving me out now.
You're
'cause I
never
feel like you're
gonna
gonna
get
have
left out.
sisterhood.
You're always invited. See you later.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that. And
Don't cheat on me.
Never.
So grit is one of those things where, you know, we so interesting. I think so much of our lives, we spend the early part of our lives running from who we are, trying to get away or making up excuses and to run from who we are. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back to who we are.
Right.
And so much of it, how you find that is,
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to not say
we forgot to
right
bring our
after
tip
people
jar.
talk.
oh,
No, because
Yeah.
Gemma says the word right all the time, and we're
Oh.
trying to erase the word right and like from our vocabulary. We were just talking about
So
that.
I
And as
just
soon as
did
she
it
said
and
it, she
caught
went,
myself and then couldn't stop. Sorry.
sorry, Megan. It's just
all
your
right.
face
Well,
went
you
like
know
I'm in
what?
trouble.
I was like, oh, what happened? What happened? I went in on it. Well, now when you say it, I will give you crap as well.
Yeah, no,
Please do.
sorry. I know. We're going to put everybody on it.
Okay, so tell her what the acronym means, how it all
Yes.
comes about.
So
Okay, sorry.
grit really is 2G. So GGRIT, and it's gratitude, growth, resilience, integrity, and tenacity.
That's
And
awesome.
those are the things that I, looking back at my life, and it wasn't until I really started really doing outreaches to mainly kids in science or who are neurodivergent, and then really speaking to women's groups, and I really started a speaking business or podcasts. People would ask me, well, how did you overcome this? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I thought, well, this is just what you do, right? I didn't
Right.
realize it was something kind of unique, and it all came down to that grit, and it all came back to me being a little kid diagnosed with dyslexia and having to work my ass off.
That's why you're used to it. You work through everything because you
Yeah,
have
work
since you were a
through
child.
everything and push through, and there is no avoiding it. There's no going around it. It finds you later. And so grit also embodies the fact by using gratitude, practicing gratitude every day, realizing what you really do still have in your life. Resilience is that ability to get back up again and again and again. Integrity is doing it right the first time and actually listening and speaking up for yourself and others.
I love that.
And tenacity is doing it all with this spirit and this burn in your belly, because without that and that positivity, you can't keep doing this growth cycle
Enjoying
over
it.
and over. And sorry, I missed growth in there, which is the hardest part. Why did I miss that? Gratitude, then growth. growth really is the hardest part of all that. That's where it hurts. That's the pain. That's the struggle. That's the I suck. I can't do this. Why am I even trying? That's the negativity, and you have to keep pushing through it. And all these things together
It's a very big lesson to learn how to push through that.
It is.
I think for people, that's the hardest point. Because, like, I think a lot of people actually know naturally what they need to do. But it is hard, and anything that's worth it, when they say anything that's worth it, is difficult.
Yeah.
It's not a lie, right? Like, you
And it
have
is.
to
People
adapt.
think about negative voices from other people telling them they can't do it, but we are the worst enemy. We are the
Absolutely.
ones who tell ourselves that we can't do it, and we
Right.
sabotage ourselves.
Well, if somebody
and we
tells you
stop.
you can't do it, you could just say fuck you.
Yeah.
But that's a mindset.
Right.
Like when somebody says you can't do it, you're like, well, fuck you. I know that sounds bad, and I'm just saying fuck you straight out. But
Yeah.
it's true. You have to be that aggressive to reach your goals.
Yeah.
You have to not let people stand in your way.
It's easy to tell someone else "fuck you,"
Right?
but it's not. I'm just saying it's not easy to tell yourself.
Absolutely.
And there are those days where you get up, and for me, I was saying, I might have accomplished all these things, and I've got this grit going because I practice it over and over, because every single day when I'm trying something new or trying to learn a new skill or growing, my brain's just like, what the F are you doing? You can't do this. Haven't you done enough? You're
Right.
getting older. What do you do? And then, but I was like, oh, this is where
It's
I
the
every
self-talk.
day.
But
the
you
self-talk.
want that. Because from the outside, you go, okay, you're a rocket scientist, aerospace engineer who overcame dyslexia. You've climbed all 7 summits, plus, plus, plus. And then you're just this powerful woman. And you created that in yourself
Yeah,
through grit.
through practice.
But
And
what's
the-
cool is that she can teach other people how to do that.
Exactly.
And
And
that's
the
what's
biggest
great.
part is I don't want to lie to anyone and be like, oh, well, you just do it. It's work every day. It's practice every day. And I love talking to schools where I'm just like, you know what? It's going to suck. And you're going to feel like crap. And you're going to fail. If you're not failing, you're not doing this. And it's in those lessons that is the actual journey. The standing on the top of a summit is a moment in time, a brief moment. And honestly, you're not even at the summit. You're just not like, oh my God. It's more like, okay, let's take our pictures. There's a storm coming in. We got to get down. The real lessons are in that journey and what it took to get there.
Right.
And that's where you figure out who you are. Those accomplishments, they're just a milestone in a bigger picture.
Right.
And people need to understand that if you really want something, you want something better for yourself, it is going to hurt.
So you're cautiously choosing when you're learning those things, when you say, I'm going to prepare for this mountain, like, you know, because you've already done it, the pain that it's going to cause, what you're going to do, but you're choosing to go on that journey for the mental journey and come out learning something on the other side.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's what the addiction is, right? Like, it's like, I want to do this, because every time must be like a whole other life of experience put into that one goal, right?
One of my favorite things to say is I am never the same woman that comes out of an expedition
went
that
in.
went in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It changes me every time. There's always something to learn. Even if, like, technically maybe the mountain was easier than I'm used to, maybe my challenge was dealing with other people.
Yep.
Or whatever it could
Just
be. or
anything
my
that's gonna come up.
own.
Yeah.
My own. Like, just going to the Arctic, it was a colossal fail. And this is another thing. I used to, years ago, for so many years, I've been like, oh, I don't like the word failure. I don't believe in failure. I'm actually so past it now, I don't mind the word failure.
Right.
Like, that was a huge thing for me.
Because if you're
that
failing,
just
you're
happened.
trying.
Because
Right.
there is technical failure. If my goal was to get to the North Pole on the last degree ski in the Arctic, we did not accomplish that. I was just there. That is a failure. But I had a success in going through the experience. We had to go, honestly, through Russia and Siberia. I was so worked up, and I wasn't afraid to go climb Everest. I was afraid to go through
For your
Siberia,
safety.
Russia.
For your
my
safety.
and like all these rules and all this stuff, and I was just so hyped up. I finally got through customs, and all of a sudden it just washed over me. I was finally relaxed, and I looked at someone else on my team that's very type A, just like me, and I realized, oh my God, that's me. And I had this amazing moment where I remembered what the journey was about. It's not the summit, it's the journey. And I was instantly able to relax again and be like, no, this is what it is. It's supposed to remind me right now. So all these lessons we have when we're failing is what truly makes me stronger and more successful.
I agree.
We were talking the other day about what it's like to push through. And so when we get back at the TNT with Taylor, we are going to talk about pushing through the things you push through on a mountain that then are things you push through in life because of your experiences on the mountain. We'll be right back. So we're back with TNT. I'm Taylor. This is my dear, dear friend Megan, and of course the lovely Gemma joining us. And they're meeting for the first time, which is super fun because I love them both.
We've been waiting. We've
they
been waiting
had
for
the same
this.
birthday. Your similarities are so incredible,
It
and
is
I just
totally
have been
wild.
waiting for this moment, and I love it. And we were just talking about how pushing through things like you've done, from being dyslexic, having neurodivergence, to coming into the fact that you're an aerospace engineer. You've climbed all these amazing mountains, the 7 summits, and you're heading for a grand slam. But when you're on the mountain, do you feel like you take those lessons of like the physical challenges and then bring them back down the mountain and they change you in a way?
Yeah, 100%. And there's a reason why so many people that are mountaineers and achieve this are now keynote speakers, because the analogy is so perfect and beautiful. And really for me though, getting into mountaineering is because when I was a little kid suffering so much from dyslexia and the shame and the embarrassment, just felt like an idiot even though I was smart and had a supportive family. The outdoors was my refuge, and I felt natural and calm and myself there. And I would go and work harder to keep up with my dad on a hike, or for us to climb a 14er in Colorado and put that energy in. I think it was my mom was like, hi, why don't we put that energy into schoolwork? And it kind of clicked like, oh, it is hard, but I should do this.
Right.
And so you learn that discipline. So they always played back and forth. And the thing with a mountain, everything from the analogy of the summit, you're working so hard for something, any goal you have. And when I speak about grit to women's groups or kids or companies or just people, your goal doesn't have to be Everest. It can be, I want to run a 5K. It could be, I want to get my kid through high school. I want to go that next level in my career. I want to learn a new language. I want to learn to love myself. And they all have the same thing. They all have that growth and that uphill climb that is brutal and painful, and you want to turn back.
Absolutely.
But you make that choice every moment to keep going. And that power in that is so amazing. It starts to feed and build your self-esteem. And so by the time you're to the summit, you've learned so much. And but then the other analogy is most accidents happen on descent. So you still have to pay attention.
after you've made it,
You're like, just relax.
Oh,
You've got to
no.
stay in the game, and you've got to stay humble. You've got to stay grateful. You've got to, look for what that next peak is going to be, and decide you want to climb something bigger. And that's just a life goal. Keep taking on that new thing as you build who you are inside, and you're able to take those challenges on.
Well, I think a great example in life is what you talk about when they're at the very, very top. Would that be considered just the Hillary steps of Everest, or is it dead zone? What is it that you call it when you take one step? Literally, it's that difficult, and you have to take a huge breath.
Yeah.
Because I think in life that
Yeah.
breathing and calming yourself down is something I've had to learn.
Yes, and that's something actually I also, literally in climbing, you get death zones generally above 26,000 feet-ish, and everything slows down. Time slows down. It is one step at a time. Like, it's down to the millisecond. And it's interesting, too, because when you've been doing it a long time, there'll be new people, like anything else in our lives,
Right.
where you kind of are a little annoyed, like, oh, my God, let's go, or whatever. But I have
Different
to remember.
personalities on a mountain.
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, we're all, like, everyone's type A.
For months.
And cray,
Oh my gosh.
I know. But I have to also have patience with people who they're newer at it. And what could be very difficult for them is a piece of cake for me. But that's something also, we all feel that at some level, and we need to be patient and kind and show grace to others at where they're at as well. But I mean, sorry.
But you also are truly relying on each other for your safety of your lives.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is
like-
not just like hey, we're gonna do
And you don't know who
Girl
you're
Scouts
signing up
together.
with. Like, you meet them. Do you meet them ahead of time, or do you just meet them like when you guys show up to?
It all depends
start.
on the expedition.
Really?
Because, and different mountains. And there's a lot of times I was saying, like, when I was younger and really like, oh my God. I mean, it's expensive. It's hard to scrape together money. So you're just like, I'll go with any team. I will, whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
you're just trying to have
you
get
show
on
up
the
with people
chip.
from all around the world.
Yeah.
And I will say, the majority of the time, 80-90%, you meet the most amazing, beautiful
I
people.
can't think of a better way to meet people you're totally
Phenomenal
aligned
people.
with.
You have people who are, missing an arm, who are blind, who have all these amazing causes doing the
And
same
they're like,
thing
I'm
you're
going to do
doing.
this. Yeah.
Everyone's
Amazing.
fantastic. 10% completely like entitled assholes.
Oh, no.
And just eccentric, cray-cray, narcissist mother effers.
Oh my
but
gosh,
that gives you
no.
good stories in.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
that's
you
part
have
of the
to have that.
challenge
True,
to
because-
get through.
Yeah, because some people, you can just buy your way up on the mountain as opposed to
Right.
really knowing what you're doing,
You
which is
can.
so dangerous.
You can. It's dangerous.
It's
But
very
that's that again. That goes back to life again. In any work we have, the people we love, our little work family, but there'll always be that guy, that one guy. where
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
It's interesting.
you have to learn how to work with them.
But you experience that in both of your passions. In aerospace engineering is a heavily male-dominated world that you have fought ahead in,
It is heavily male dominated.
and mountaineering as
yes,
well, right?
I know. But a great difference between these two is I can show up day one at both jobs. Engineering, it is much more difficult. I can lead a team. We can do amazing things. But if someone is misogynist or whatever, they can say at any point, oh, well, she had a team under her, or oh, well, I wonder how she
Right.
got that done, or all these things to try to take
No
away your
credit.
success.
Yeah.
On a mountain, they can think the day they see me like, oh yeah, like this bubbly blonde's going to be able, and then I kick their ass up
That's
the hill.
right.
I stand at the summit. They saw me carry my stuff, or they saw me put in the work, and at the end, they cannot deny I achieved that success. And
On
I
your
have,
own.
on the mountain, and I've had a lot of people, generally older men, who in the beginning, afterwards, they'll be like, I just want to say I apologize. You really are like that was amazing, and so it's very rewarding. I will say a lot of mountaineering companies too are so about empowering women,
Oh, that's great.
minorities, everyone that isn't typically encouraged to go into the outdoors. There is such a push to get everyone included, which has been really
That's
fantastic
awesome.
and beautiful. Yeah.
It really is. And you've made friendships that, of course, will last a lifetime, but they've become so deep so quickly because you really are risking your lives together.
It is such a pressure cooker. I don't know. It might be like doing 7 days on a vacation for the housewives. I don't know. Like it's like
Oh,
That's a
it can't be
pressure
that
cooker,
difficult. I think
But
I'll go
when
to
you're-
Everest with you instead of doing
I
that one again.
I know, right? That would
Oh my
be
God.
funny. I can
Right?
picture that.
But
They're like,
then-
did you want to do Housewives? And you're like, no, I'm doing
Everest
Everest,
instead. Exactly.
Yeah,
with Megan,
exactly.
because
Oh
I know
my
she won't
God.
betray me.
Right?
exactly.
I know I'm
Exactly.
not going to get a knife in my back or
Oh my God,
anything on the
push
way
into
up.
a crevasse, whatever.
Push into a crevasse. That's the housewife's crevasse, right? Not happening. But
Oh
you've
my
now you've
gosh.
created these
Yeah.
these bonds with
But
people.
it's a pressure cooker of when you literally are stripped down to on these expeditions. So much of it is it's daily moving to the next point, survival, taking care of yourself, trying to stay healthy, all these things that strip all the rest of the bullshit that we deal with every single day is gone, and you get to just focus on who you actually are and connect with your internal self and that little kid and deal with it. And a lot of people who actually come onto the mountain, they kind of go crazy. The ones who are more just kind of paying for it and the eccentric and it teaches you who you are,
Yeah, you should
You
probably
gotta
learn
face
some of
it.
that before you get on the mountain, though. I mean,
or
I think-
just be willing to accept it when you're on it.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
what
'cause
a
it's-
breakdown! Could you imagine? You're just
So many
signing up
breakdowns.
without the training that you need and
many
everything.
breakdowns.
And the longest one you've ever done, like what's the time span that you're actually on a mountain?
Everest is the longest one, and I was on it twice. And the first year we were on the mountain. Oh my God, it was the first year anyone could go anywhere after COVID.
I
Remember
remember.
2020? Oh
I
yeah,
remember.
it was 2020 was supposed to go. They canceled it 2 weeks before, and I remember we went and day drank through Laguna.
We day drank
We
our
did.
way through it
I know.
at the
helped,
deck.
Tay helped me through it.
Yep.
My grieving.
funny.
Yeah.
And then in 20,
Need
so
somebody
you
to
have
get
to
you through.
train. You have to train an entire another year. But I'm in it to win it. So 2021 I go. There were
This is like Iron Man a little
two
bit.
hurricanes that came through up and over the mountain, like never unprecedented. If I heard unprecedented one more time, then all these we were on the mountain. I was on the mountain like 6 to 7 weeks of rotations. We're finally ready for summit bid. We're hours from leaving. The Delta variant of COVID came up over the mountain, and took out all of our climbing Sherpa.
Aw.
Expedition done. We had to go home.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And but at that point, I was like, all
Ah.
right, I'm coming back next year. And I went back in 2022, and I summited in 5 weeks, and the weather was beautiful. That year, Everest was like, come on in, girl.
Yeah,
I got
it
you.
is your
Oh,
time.
Yeah,
so
and
it
it
was
was beautiful.
perfect.
I went with my same guiding company, climbing the 7 summits, and then my lead guide, Naren, who I just love him and his family. And we were on it the year before together, and we were able to just hit that summit together, and it was so rewarding. It was awesome.
Oh, I love
So
it.
now you've been to the North Pole twice, and both times that has been canceled because of unstable ice.
Yeah, so exact
So
same
is this
thing.
gonna be the
First
third time's the
year,
charm?
North Pole totally canceled before we went. This year we went. We tried to get, but yeah, I mean, honestly, the sea ice, if you look at the stats of the last 20 years, what has happened to the sea ice in the Arctic, it is rapid melt. It is,
I am checking on the sea ice
Oh,
every day. I don't know
yes,
about
sweet
you,
Lord.
Gemma,
I
but
do
I need to
usually,
know
right
the
in the
sea ice.
morning.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I know. I have a little warning.
I do, girl. I know.
Of course
it's
you
like,
do.
Yeah,
It's like the surf
exactly.
report
No
in
more
Laguna,
ice
but Megan knows about the ice caps.
I
What is
know. But
happening?
anyway,
She
so
has
yeah.
to know.
No, I know she has to
Yeah.
know. But I'm
I
just
know,
saying though,
it's
because
so
Everest
sad.
was third time was a charm. That
I
means
know,
North
that's
Pole.
what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
And
thinking.
then once you do North Pole, you have officially the
Explorers Grand Slam.
Explorers Grand Slam.
I know.
And then what's after that?
That sounds
And then
pretty
no one
awesome.
will know what it is or care. But I care.
Oh,
It's
we're
all
putting
you
it
know
out
what
there.
it is.
I know.
But what's after that?
Well, there's so many things. So before that, I'm actually going to go do Carson's Pyramid, which the 7 summits is called the 8th summit, because you can do Kosciuszko or Carson's Pyramid. So that's been closed for 5 years. So
Oh, it
I have
has.
one of like 50 permits. So we're going to go climb that.
Wow.
Then I have some really exciting climbs planned, possibly the Fjall Raven.
Nice.
Which is awesome. And then, yeah,
Such an awesome brand.
I will do North Pole. And then I'm looking at doing the longer version of the North and South Pole, which would be the Adventurers Grand Slam, which is another level. And then, I don't know, I'm looking at K2. We're looking at
Oh
K2.
my gosh.
I know.
It's my sister. Sorry, mom, sister. I don't
Okay,
know.
what is, but when you go from do the North Pole, South Pole thing, explain that one to Gemma that you told me about when you get the Adventurers.
Yeah, so it is, so you have to do the full ski, not the last degree, which is 70 miles. You do like 450. It's from like the coastline or an inlet. And so it is grueling. I honestly, it would take a lot to even do the North Pole anymore. I know the 2 guys are the last gentlemen to do it, or people to do it. It was a long time ago, and the logistics are just too difficult now. But we'll see. I mean, if there's a way, ski it and canoe it.
If there's a way, I know she's doing it.
I
If
know.
there's a way she's
Yeah.
doing anything,
And so then people are like,
Megan
why?
for president.
Why freaking do this? And one of the biggest reasons is so few women have ever done this. And that it shocks me how few women have done it. And it's everything from the amount of time you need to go do it,
Right.
the resources, the money. And honestly, it's also women generally, you're the caregivers at home.
Right, right.
And I will have friends that climb. Do you know the amount of mom shame they get? I do not have kids. I was not able to have them. That's another reason why it's easier for me to do this.
Right.
But I'll have a friend who's going and climbing, and they're like, the kids are home with their father.
Right.
Who takes
Which
care
would
of
never
them.
be said.
They get
if
so
it was
much
reversed.
mom shame.
Yeah.
And it's just a society, too. Like,
That's a
man,
real thing, the mom shame thing. I mean, I was always a working mom, and it was always like in my neighborhood, all the stay-at-home moms would like bring their lawn chairs out and watch the kids. And when I would leave in the morning to go to work, I swear it was like evil eye every morning, total disapproval every morning coming out of my street. It was like, oh, she's working. Like, oh.
What I was
Women-
telling Gemma that the mountains are
It's
your
mom
babies.
shaming.
Yeah,
The mountains are your babies.
mountains are my
And
babies.
you're like, you're growing
Well, they
with
need all the
them, and
attention.
It's just amazing.
Well, I kind of like, that's why I do so many outreaches to schools, too, to be able to, with neurodivergence and help encourage kids also, like, you can do this.
Which being a scientist, a rocket scientist,
Yeah,
Some
just to be
days-
very
some days
clear.
I am.
literally, is in itself an accomplishment almost as grand as climbing Everest. I mean, like, how many women are like rocket scientists?
More and more, actually. I have to say,
Amen. I
when
love
I
it.
started, it was not good stats, but I have to say, like now, and being, in California
I
and
love that.
aerospace, so many women, companies are also really taking notice and trying to encourage STEM activities to get girls back in school or, stay in
Yes.
school. So many are so into science and they drop out at some point.
I know, I love science, and
But
then I never followed it. Yeah.
But again, like something that really hit all the STEM fields was COVID, where all of a sudden the kids are home. Guess who quit their jobs mainly to take care of the kids out of the man or the woman? The woman did.
Right.
Women dropped out of the STEM field. And so there are all these things that are still impacting us. And, again, back to my friends who are mom shaming. I mean, heaven forbid you show your kid what it is to work hard for something and go do something really difficult. And then come home while they're being taken care of by their other parent. I don't get it.
Why is it still so one-sided? It's crazy, isn't
I
it?
think it is, but okay, I have to say something
Yeah.
though. Also, staying home with children is extremely hard.
So hard.
It's like literally hard. I would say that getting to go to work is a blessing. So sometimes, like, I mean, literally, I have thought about that because I was a working mom, and then I would stay home, and I stayed home for 2 years with my son. Almost went completely insane. Like, I mean, like, seriously, you have to have a certain mindset for that. Just like you have to have a certain mindset to be a scientist or any of those things. Like, some people can rock freaking being a parent. Like, I was an okay parent, but I have friends that are phenomenal parents. They're raising like miniature, insanely smart, brilliant children that come in after school and they're like, hey, can I have a cucumber for a snack? And they like sit down and they eat cucumbers and they make their own eggs in the morning and
What
they're
is a
like
cookie?
5.
I've never had one.
Right. I never heard
Yeah,
of
like
that.
no, they're totally healthy. They're like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I think parenting is one thing. Parenting correctly, freaking hard work.
It is hard work. And mountains don't talk back. That's the other thing I like about a good
Well,
mountain.
they do. They do a lot of it.
Actually,
The rock
taunting
climbs
you.
and the avalanches, which you're
Yeah.
getting used to that sound and never say scan. But you make such an excellent point, and I did not in any way mean to.
Oh, no,
say-
no.
But that is why all these badass women could go climb Everest because they raise kids.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
nothing for them. It is a vacation.
Exactly.
It's a freaking vacation.
Right.
You're like,
Yeah.
I would really like to get into this. My husband said I could do it. Like, I know I've got to ask your husband because somebody has to watch the kids,
kids.
right? But they have to agree that you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Such
that
an
every
incredible
day,
lesson for the
every
kids, though.
day, these men who are these stellar mountaineers as well, their
vacation.
women, their wives or like stay home and take care of the kids, and it's a very lonely life for them. When especially a lot of these phenomenal guides who are gone like half the year.
I know.
And so I know.
When you
Yeah.
were doing Everest the last time, how many women were in your group?
You know, so I'm with the Mountaineering Company climbing the 7 summits, and Mike Hamill and his amazing wife Caroline Pemberton, she made it a goal for them, literally, that they would have half female clients, and she's done so much to bring in that
That's
talent.
incredible.
And like all of us who then climb with them, like we try to help too, and so. Literally, I remember in 2022, the private guided, we had a tent, it was all women in there, and we were just like,
Yes,
this
I love
is
this.
awesome.
That's so crazy.
So,
So
like I
awesome.
said, so many of those companies are really about empowering women, and I'm actually going to sit on a panel with them of Mountaineering 101. Anyone can call in, and it's like, how do I get into this? And so that is so important, and we all know this, and we all do this as women, whatever you're doing, you need to make sure to start reaching back and helping other people. Like all this extra gear I
Absolutely.
have, giving it to girls and women to get into the sport,
Right.
or giving them tools, like having a meetup, like, hey guys, we're going to meet on this mountain, I'm going to go through 101 with you. We have to mentor other
Mentorship
women.
is so important in
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
aspect of life in
Absolutely.
general. Like, I'm really big into that also, and I don't know if it's because of the age I'm at now too, is that I just feel like I want to feel good about
Yeah.
things that you do and help other people. I know, like, even with mountain climbing, I used to do those little like mountain climb walls like at the gym, you know, that they have and
Yeah.
stuff. But like, I love this. I would like love to get into this, but I would know nothing about where to start, who to
Yeah.
talk to. Like, that's why the coolest things like REI, I love bike riding, but I'm like, I didn't even know what to do with a bike. I don't even know like if a tire is flat, like what do I do with it? Like, a lot of it's just not knowing what to do and feeling insecure about like, what if I get stuck somewhere and I have to haul this bike
Yeah.
like 5 miles back to somewhere, like I won't be able to do it. So I think that mentoring, like, or having someone like yourself, it's like, hey, I'm interested in this, and you're like, hey, I can help you get into it. It's like you're changing somebody else's
Yeah.
life and helping them do something they would have never done.
And
you know?
we're all used to, and I'm used to, especially feel as I am. I got to the point where I'll ask anyone. So men, I've had so many amazing male mentors that are lovely, but a lot of women, it is more intimidating. You don't want to be mansplained to.
Right.
You might have something where
Mansplained.
I don't know. You're gonna,
Especially high achieving women. There's like, definitely like you're in the room and you're kind of like feeling out, where's the boundary with that? Just kidding.
We've been out together at places, and all of a sudden, tell her like, "Oh, this is my friend Megan. She climbed Everest." And these certain guys right away will be like, "Oh, base camp." Like
Right?
that's
I know,
their instinct
base
thing.
camp.
And then they'll just go. I won't even answer, and they go right into telling me about climbing.
Right.
And then we just look at each other. We just smile. We're like,
We're just
"Oh
like,
man,
go
You're like,
ahead.
yeah,
"Do
go
you-
ahead.
You don't realize
Tell
the
me
level
about
I'm at."
climbing Mount Rainier. It was so hard."
And now you're mountain shaming them,
I
which they
know.
deserve.
You're
And I'm like, no,
mountain shaming.
Everest over here, all 7
I just
summits.
I'm like, "Oh, Rainier, that's cute."
This is so cute.
I
You little
know.
mountain.
But you're right. Like
I love it.
for and look, and as a woman, it's okay. If you want to be with other women to learn when you're first get your confidence, you have every right to feel that way. And as women, we should be helping other women. Like we grew up in a time where we're sort of pitted against each other. There can only be one
true.
female engineer in this group.
Right.
Why can't there be
One
half?
winner.
Only one pretty
One winner.
girl
One
also
Pretty
in
girl,
the group.
and if someone else
Right.
comes in, she's after your title.
Yeah.
It was some bunch of shit we were sold. Right?
Literally, I agree.
I never subscribed.
Totally.
I don't
100%.
subscribe.
Me
Our
neither. I
generation
still have
really
good,
lives
great
like that.
girlfriends.
They I don't know. It was this master plan.
I know.
Yeah.
The old white
I
dude,
do think
but
it's changing
it
though.
was.
It's
you know,
changing
and-
because we got smart.
Well, Megan knows
better
Kennedy
together.
very well. My daughter's 18. And so I do think that these girls, like
Yeah.
Kennedy and all her best friends, have been together since they were 13, and
Yeah.
they have stuck by each other's sides. I
love
feel
that.
like that
I know,
was
it's so
not the
cute. I love
case for
that.
us in high school.
Yeah.
It was
And we
not. It was girl
noticed
against girl.
All of
Yeah.
us were probably most of my friends were guys
It was
growing
mean
up.
girl.
But then as I grew older and as I found my own worth, the more I sought my amazing female friends. Like I have the best friendships and we really do support each other. And
That's
now,
where the transition happened. When you were
Yes.
fully in your own confidence, all of a sudden you could approach the world differently.
It
And then
is.
all of a sudden everybody's your friend.
Yep.
And you're like,
It
wow,
is.
everything is so great.
There's
and
enough
that's
for all of us.
that
There's
confidence-
enough for
Absolutely,
all
there
of
is enough
us.
for all
that
of us.
confidence is so important. Like,
Yeah.
because I honestly believe like every decision you made is based on your own confidence, right? It's like,
Yes.
if you're confident, you can do anything. Like, so I always tell my daughter, because she just had a baby, so I go, if you teach him anything, it doesn't even matter, but just teach him to be confident, because if you have confidence, you will like literally make it through anything. Like people, relationships, everything. You can stay true to yourself. You can't
Yeah.
stay true to yourself if you're not confident or you don't trust yourself.
And with the like tenacity, part of that too is honestly, and sometimes, and some people are like, oh, I don't like it, but fake it till you make it. There is a little bit
Yeah.
of, I'm like, who do you want to be? What
Right.
would she do right now? How would she answer
that's a
this?
good question.
How would she show up?
Yeah.
Just go be her until you are her.
I feel like that's what I
That's
do.
great.
Just kidding.
No,
I'm like it's and you
Yeah.
have to choose it though.
Yeah,
you have
you
to
choose
actually
it.
step into your own power at some point.
love that idea of what would the girl that you really want to be do right now?
Yeah.
That
Right.
is such a
You
easy.
try-
It
you
sounds
tr-
easy, but
Because if you keep putting yourself in those shoes and you make those decisions, that what it's doing is building your confidence because you see that it works, or oh, that didn't work, but you're okay and you keep moving forward. It's actually building you into that person.
Right.
But it just takes again that first step.
Well, and
that
that's what they're calling
choosing to rise,
manifestation.
choosing to get up.
Is that
Yeah.
same thing. Manifesting
Yeah.
is still the same thing. It's not sitting on the couch thinking about it. It's living every day in that shadow of, or not shadow,
Yeah.
but image of what you're trying to
Image, yeah.
manifest, right? So you're like, I mean, you don't get to be a climber and climb Everest without totally visualizing, I'm going to be the girl on the top of that mountain.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see myself on the top of that mountain. And I'm going to summit that freaking mountain no matter how hard it is, no matter what I do. Like, you have to decide. And then when you get on the mountain, every step is a decision.
right.
Yeah.
Because you could turn back at any time, which I'm sure people do, right?
Okay, we're gonna take a
So-
break, but when we get back, I have to tell. We haven't even talked about what you truly overcame before you started climbing mountains again.
I know, it's like a secret.
Oh my gosh, we'll be right back. The Naked Truth with Taylor. We're back, TNT with Taylor, and I'm here with Gemma and Megan, aka Rocket Girl, mountain climber extraordinaire, just all around badass girl.
Awesome woman, yeah.
Just awesome woman.
Yeah.
In awesome company.
Oh, yes. Gemini bonding.
I know.
It is Gemini bonding.
So Megan has overcome dyslexia. She's overcome so many challenges in her life, and then she falls in love with climbing because of your dad, and then also just having these huge goals. And then she has a massive accident.
You know, I love Vail, Colorado. I live there.
as do I.
That's where we met.
That's
I
where we
know.
met. Ski families.
Yeah, but huge snowboarder, and I had a horrific accident
Oh, God.
in the back bowls of Vail. It was a beautiful powder day, and oh my God.
It started out that way.
Literally 2 minutes before, I'm like, this is life. I love it. But I was going about 25 miles an hour on a tree line behind my girlfriend who's ex-US ski team. But I hit a down tree under the powder, never saw it.
Oh
So
my God.
decapitated my femur, spiral fractured it down, muscles ripped off, bleeding internally. Not
Oh.
good stuff.
Horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible.
The pain.
And it was a gnarly rescue.
But yet lucky that you're here.
It is.
Those
It
accidents
was-
can end very, very
Yeah,
badly.
it was emergency surgery, and really woke up
Right.
after. It was like a 7-hour surgery. Like, woke up lucky to be alive.
Right.
A titanium rod down the middle of my femur pinned in, and they're just like, you will have a cane or a wheelchair the rest of your life.
Oh my God.
And it really was, and this is honestly, I think, where grit started to happen for me, is because instantly, from everything I had gone through of dyslexia or female in engineering, instantly my brain, I was high on morphine. But I also...
That's when they got the best
Drip,
ideas.
drip, drip. Only benefit, only
oh,
fun
sweet
part.
Lord. But I was just like, no,
Right.
fuck that. That's not my life. We start the work today.
Right.
And so it was a grueling amount of time, constant pain 24/7, felt like my muscles wanted to rip off. It was not good. And here we are a year and a half later, and I am not better. I have, at this point, I have left my job in Denver. I am in Vail full time. I'm with doctors, spending all my money trying to get my life back. We can't figure out what's wrong with me. I'm at the best surgeons. We've never seen this before. Unprecedented.
Of course, unprecedented.
It was my physical therapist is like, I think you're allergic to the titanium, which
Oh
we didn't
my
have a test for at the
gosh.
time. And so
We're gonna have to pause for a minute. They'll just edit that out.
yeah.
We'll just back up. Just like, how long ago do you think the beeping started? Okay. So where
No
were
worries,
you?
you tell me where to-
So you're gonna say it turned out I was allergic to the titanium. Start with that part. Yep.
No worries.
Okay. So you're in
Are we
a ton of
good?
pain?
Or you want me to wait? Okay. Yeah, so it turns out I was indeed allergic to the titanium. So they,
That's
after
crazy.
The rod in her leg.
Yeah,
she's
the rod in
allergic
my
to.
leg. I'm
That's
allergic to.
pretty horrific.
my bone was overgrowing.
Oh God.
And it was traumatic. So they take it out. I mean, at a year and a half to go upstairs, I had a cane and I had to use the railing. They took it out. Within 1 month, I could walk upstairs unassisted.
Oh my
This
gosh.
entire time that I was in horrendous physical therapy, pain, dry needling, everything we could throw the kitchen
Anything
sink
to
at it.
happen to make it better.
All I could think about was returning to the mountains.
Oh
And
my
like
gosh.
going back to Everest Base Camp and climbing Kilimanjaro again. So after a year and a half, I took it out. Within a month, I could walk upstairs, and within 6 months, I returned to Everest Base Camp.
Oh my gosh.
And what I realized was because of all the pain I had endured and the positivity I kept, that resilience, I was stronger mentally and emotionally than ever before. And it was a piece of cake. So I went and did Kilimanjaro again, which I had done with my father. My father had
That's
since
amazing.
passed. So for me, it was even doubly
Everything.
special to me to
Yeah.
meet him at the top for sunrise.
Yes. Oh,
And I was with
made me
a group
cry.
that was
Oh
a
my
little bit slower, and sunrise was coming, and I took off across the top of Kilimanjaro. I ran at 19,300 feet to
Right.
be there to meet
For
my father's
sunset.
spirit.
On
Oh
a
my gosh.
recovering femur.
And
And-
well, at that point, a little time, but I mean,
Aw.
I was just like, that was a piece of cake. And so that's how I was like, all right, I'm doing something higher. So I went to do Aconcagua in South America, 23,000 feet. And it was awesome. I loved it. And I met a woman drinking wine afterwards in Mendoza. Of course I did.
As you
But
would.
she was like, oh, this was my 7th summit. And she was only like 29. I was like,
Wow.
when'd you do Everest? She did it when she was 17 or 18 with her
Wow.
family.
Wow.
She's lineage of George Mallory.
Oh.
And so I was like, what? So
Oh.
I'm drinking wine of all the places in the world. She was
Right.
sat next to me and she's like, you can do this. You start training, get the skills, go do Denali, you can do Everest. And I was like, that's it. I'm doing this.
So people who
That's
don't know,
amazing.
you tell them who George is.
So George Mallory is the first non-Nepalese credited with climbing Everest is Edmund Hillary, but George Mallory, it's controversy whether he did summit or didn't summit, but his body was found actually by my friend Jake Norton, Dave Hahn in 2019, frozen body. He died either on ascent or descent. They don't know. He could have been the first, but we just don't know yet. But
Oh.
so just an amazing, amazing story. He's one of the true first mountaineers, like hiking up Everest in like leather boots and some wool
Wow.
and crackers in his pocket.
Can you
But I
imagine?
know.
With some crackers in his
But
pocket.
Yeah,
Well, you
I
could
can
do it. I
picture
already know
His
that.
granddaughter, like it was just amazing to sit next to her. And so that's when I was like, I'm going to do this. And what I'm going to do is I understood this power of the mental strength and that choice you have every day to get back up and keep fighting.
Right.
Every single day. I'm in chronic pain, but every day I'm going to get up and fight for this.
That's crazy.
And
Amazing.
that's why I decided on the 7 summits. And then I started kind of going, and I was like, all right, that's not a big enough challenge. I want to do the Explorers Grand Slam.
Exactly.
So this whole thing of grit was really to prove to myself that this works and to inspire others, and especially kids and women, but now it reaches like everyone, to use gratitude, growth, resilience, integrity, and tenacity to find that within yourself for whatever goal you have.
Right.
It's absolutely true. And that's why I always call you for advice, because I know that no matter how big the mountain is I'm trying to climb, you're going to talk me through the steps and just be like, okay, right now what you need is resilience. Right now what you need is tenacity. Right now you need a drink, so I won't be meeting you.
Many times we have many discussions over rosé all day.
Yes, we do,
Yes,
all
we
day
do.
long. Now,
Oh my
now you
gosh.
get to be involved with us.
It's
I
so
know.
cute.
I love it so much.
But we, all of us, and especially as women, you have to wear so many hats. You have the weight of the world. In engineering, I have to say something 3 times to get the same respect or believed as much as a man saying it once.
Right.
Or whatever it is. And we can accomplish these amazing things, but we all have doubts still. We all have negative voices. And I was saying this earlier, it's like it's in those failures that I actually truly learn who I am, and I build that self-esteem. And it was on Everest in 2021, the year I was so close to summit, but I didn't get there. That was the year. I actually, after all this I've talked about, just a few years ago is when I finally was good enough for myself, which also like changed everything for me and all the work. And that's
your
such
whole
a
life.
gift that I want to give other people too, is because I had been on the mountain so long that through rotations up through over 20,000 feet, my body was just eating itself. You can't eat enough. And it was just diminishing away. And we went for this day hike, and I had zero energy. I'm always like the fastest. I'm always the front of the pack.
Yes,
and
you are.
I had to turn around from a day hike, which I've never done. And I was like, what is happening to me? And then the negative voices are in. They're just like, I told you, why are you even here on Everest? You don't belong here. You should be. You're not good enough, Megan. You're like in your 40s. What the fuck are you doing? Everyone's going to laugh at you. And I'm in my tent going through this, and I just start crying. And then I was like, well, how am I ever going to do this? But if I'm going to do it, there's this other mountain right next to Everest called Lhotse, and you could do them back to back for 18 more K. And for some reason in my head, I'm like, if you're really good at this, you just won't do Everest. You'll also do Lhotse.
Oh my
And
God.
I literally,
Not enough pressure.
literally, like I call it my grit voice, like came out of the other side of my head, is like, Megan, are you listening to this?
Yeah,
Like,
you're like talking to yourself like you sound ridiculous
I am in
right
my
now.
head, like, having
and you're
this
having
battle.
like arguing back and
Yeah.
forth.
Totally.
I do that
And you're
too.
at 20,000
Yeah.
feet.
My
Yeah.
voice is just like, I am done. If you overcame dyslexia to become an aerospace engineer, you are
Yes,
literally
ma'am.
climbing Mount Everest right now.
Yeah.
If you are not good enough for yourself right now at this moment,
Will you ever be?
I am done.
Yeah.
I am done with you. I cannot help you anymore.
Right.
I literally.
Because your Gemini twin was talking
Yeah,
to
you
you.
were literally
In a
talking.
tent.
Maybe it's a Gemini
I
thing.
know, in a tent on base camp by myself. I just started laughing, and I just wiped my tears. I was like, holy shit.
This is
You're
it.
right. Like, dude, I need to be good enough for myself, or I'm freaking insane at this point. So you know what? I'm good enough for
Yeah.
myself. And then, so then I went, I'm like, I'm not climbing Lhotse. I'm just going to get Everest done. And then I went to my guide. I'm like, what's wrong with me? He's like, we need more calories in you.
Like,
Your
you
eyes
need-
are open. You need to be eating.
something.
No.
I rebuilt, and it was all good. Like, I did it.
You
but
did it.
It was when I came back. So when they canceled Everest, when we were on it, and they're like, everyone's sick, you got to go home. Everyone else, my team is devastated. And I was like, I got what I came for. I'm good. And I went
Wow.
home happy because
Yeah.
I learned that part about myself. All of us, we can have so many things going on the outside. We look like we have accomplished so much, but until you have truly learned to be proud of who you are and your
Absolutely.
worth, and to love truly who you are in the good and bad, you are not successful. You aren't.
I think it takes
No,
most
you have to
people
feel
a
it.
lifetime.
You have to be at peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think it takes a lot of people a lifetime. You just accelerate all the processes.
And then maintenance after that. It's not like you just have to keep.
Till when do you
maintenance
wake up and you're like, oh, I am fabulous and perfect, and I never have another thought in my head.
No, it's every day.
No, it's every day.
Oh God! All right, let's do
I
this.
know, and like you were saying, from the exterior, you would think like she's a rocket scientist. She's climbed all these mountains. Like your
Yeah.
confidence, you exude confidence, but it didn't come for free. It came because of the
No.
struggles and the
Right?
steps and the breathing
Right?
and all of the things in between.
All of us,
Yeah.
everyone. And again, I love to say, yeah, the rocket science, the mountain climbing, but you were talking about moms.
No,
raising
everybody's struggle
3
is
to
the same.
1
It's
kid,
like it's just
moms,
different levels.
Anyone working, 3 jobs to
Yeah.
better themselves. We all have these struggles.
Everyone has their own Everest.
everyone has their own Everest every day, girl.
Yeah.
Love that so
Yeah.
much. Well, I just love that we have each other, and now you two have had a chance to meet, because sometimes we do need to pull each other up a mountain or help ourselves, down the mountain. And I just think
Absolutely.
having
Empowering each
powerful
other,
girls around each
right?
other.
Yes. I mean, there's no reason. Life is so short. Like, the only thing we have is time, and we should be giving that love, empowerment, lessons. And it's hard, like, because you do want to help people. And unfortunately, sometimes you do have to learn all of those things yourself for it to become part of you, right? So, like, you have to watch people go through hard times. And sometimes, instead of mentoring them, all you can be is somebody that understands
Right.
and that's
I
there
love
for
that
them.
You said that, because you're right, because you can't enable or give someone the answers.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I say too is I'm like, I can tell you this and I can inspire you, but you're gonna have to go do,
You have to do the work.
I
Yeah.
have families try to contact me like, hey, I've got grown kids now and I really need them to teach the value of grit and what the wealth that I'm going to give them so that they'll be responsible. I'm like, you want me to teach your 25-year-old entitled kid all of a sudden how to?
Yeah, it's
I'm
like,
how
not
about I
gonna
go take
totally
them-
happen.
Let me go take them backcountry for a week, then maybe we can talk. But an hour
Right.
conversation is not
Yeah.
going to
Gonna
fix
get
your
it.
problems.
Yeah, could you take
gotta
your phone
do it.
away for a month and see what?
And I love what you
they think of
said.
it?
Then we need to help each other get through
Yeah.
it and let someone have their journey.
Yeah.
Let someone fail. Let your kids fail. Let your
Sometimes a
best friends
mentorship, I
fail.
think, is just like, okay, we're both on this path, and
Yeah.
I'm here with you on this path,
yeah.
and you can turn to me at any point and be like, what do I do now, or what do you think
Yeah.
I should do? But at the end of the day, everybody's responsible for their own journey and choices,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like I have the tools because I made it through this, and you're going to make it through it.
Yeah.
But I can't do it for you.
Right.
So
Can
it's
help
like
reminding
helping
them.
Yeah,
Is it a
it's just-
rosé
you
or
just
a
have
red
to be
day
there,
today? What
right?
do you need? What do you need, girl?
What do you
or
need
tequila?
today?
What's happening?
Because you're gonna get through. We're gonna get through it together.
Yeah.
But you
I-
still have to pull your own
No,
your own
right.
pack up the mountain. Right.
I'm not
Feel
carrying
like
your
I
pack.
like the empowerment effervescence is bubbling over. I wish we had like all day just to sit here and talk.
I
Well, actually, we
know.
can. After this, we can just keep on talking.
All
So-
right, I love it. Let's do
We're
it.
running out of time, but you have to come back like a million times over
It's
and
so
share
great
with
to
us
meet you.
all your
Love it.
victories and
How about
your
after the next
challenges.
climb?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And send pictures so we can post them so everyone can see how incredible you are on a mountain, how incredible you are in life, and how incredible grit is. It's just, it's
I
a
know. I
whirlwind
can't
of
wait to see more. I'm sure
fabulousness.
there's a book coming.
I know.
Oh, it is.
When
coming.
is the book
okay,
coming?
so I have to say, the hardest challenge I've ever taken on truly is writing a book.
Yeah.
To my dyslexia, that actually is giving me so much anxiety, and to relive things like
Yes.
again, we tell ourselves coping mechanisms as children to get through things. So having to go back and write about it and
Yes.
revisit it, you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's like it's right
God,
there.
That hurt. Like,
It's
oh.
cathartic. It's cathartic.
Like
for
I was
sure.
writing and crying, like, but it is. It's cathartic. It's amazing, and it is amazing what the human mind and body will do to cover up pain.
Absolutely.
But,
I
yeah.
also think as you're writing it, you must be like, okay, I am a badass. Like just like looking at all the as you're like, wait,
I'm like,
I'm looking at my own life story, going, I
wants to
rule.
hear
I
about
am
this? And I'm
Awesome.
like, oh
no,
my
it's
gosh.
not. That's why every step of your
Oh
journey
my
is
gosh!
so
But yes, the
empowering.
book. I am working. I really hope to have that out this year. That is a major goal of mine.
Do you have a title?
It is Grit. Choose
Grit.
to Rise.
Choose
I
to
love
Rise.
it. Well, so my whole thing is, and this is truly what I believe, and we've talked about this so much, and I love how connected you are. Or like every single day we have a choice, and grit is a choice. So choose to rise, and that is my motto every single day. You choose it. Choose that narrative. Choose whatever's come at you or thrown your way. Spin it and make it your own.
Absolutely, you have to.
Take responsibility for it.
Take
Stop blaming
responsibility.
others.
It's the minute you take responsibility, the whole world shifts.
Yeah,
Everything. And for your own benefit, actually.
yeah,
I mean, making excuses and lying to yourself is so much harder.
yeah.
I don't know why we.
Choose to rise.
When is it
Yeah.
gonna get easier? Hey, guess
When you
what?
choose.
It doesn't.
It
It does.
when you
Life is
choose to
gonna
make it easier.
constantly throw you challenges and all these things. So when you flip it and you decide to start choosing
You
it,
just have to learn how to deal with it.
you do.
It's
I
a
know.
mindset.
Get the book,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Do it,
We're gonna get the
absolutely. Okay, firecrackers, thank you so much for being here. TNT with Taylor, Gemma, Megan, my favorite people. And I am so excited. I want everybody to go out today and choose to rise. Till next time.